Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise recap. Game 82 of the season. I just completely blanked out on what I was saying. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think it's time that this season wrapped up. The Boston Celtics, am I saying this right? Defeat the Orlando Magic with a final score of 113 to 108. Oh my gosh, guys. I won't lie. I think this was the most hyped up I've been all season. I'm not even going to lie. I was jumping up and down. Listen, these are my main guys. I got to say, listen, I got the Sea Dogs hat on and I got the Amari Williams jersey right here. Main one. Hold on. Can you guys see it? All right. We saw it. I was trying to give a little spin, but it didn't work because if I stood up, you guys wouldn't see it. But this is my point of view as you guys are dying. But it all starts in Maine. Tonight for the Boston Celtics, hold on, I'm going to go down the list. Baylor Shireman, Maine Celtic. Ron Harper Jr., Maine Celtic. Luka Garza, not a Maine Celtic. All right, that's one player. Delano Banton, Maine Celtic. Jordan Walsh, Maine Celtic. John Tonji, Maine Celtics. Max Shulga, Maine Celtic. And Amari Williams, a Maine Celtics. 7 out of the 8 players came from Maine. Absolute cinema. That's all I gotta say. But initial thoughts really quick. We'll go David, Carl, Daniel, and back to myself. And then I know we don't like doing questions. We like to save them for the podcast, but this isn't really a podcast talk because there's some questions to be had, but I'll ask you guys after. But what are your initial thoughts after the Celtics win this game?
I mean, these Boston Celtics just have a way to keep us entertained from game 1 to game 82. I was thinking this whole afternoon, I don't care either way if we win or lose. We have nothing to play for. That's a great spot to be in game 82. And that third quarter just completely changed the way how I felt about this game. I'm like, we have to win this game. And I mean, Baylor Shireman went sicko mode, as the kids say, in that third quarter, which was wild. I mean, they brought it. It wasn't. What was that, Griffin?
Nothing. I was just saying, and Ron Harper Jr. You can't let him out. Leave him out.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Harper Jr. for sure was huge in that first quarter. And I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of that game was what you'd expect from those players who have spent most of the season down in Maine playing against the top team of the Magic. But what we didn't expect at all was them to pull out a victory. I don't think any of us saw that coming. And that was the most incredible part of the night. We got better as the night went on. I could see everyone just improving as the night went on, and we did just enough to win. And I mean, to have 3 guys scoring over 25 points was incredible. And yeah, I mean, just what a fun game from, staying close through the first 2.5 quarters to then breaking through in the back half of that third quarter to, breaking it open a little bit more to start the fourth. And then the Magic showed who we thought they would show the whole night for most of that fourth quarter. And then we just did just enough to win. So very classic feel-good Celtics victory. Really shout out to the Celtics as well for playing hard in front of the fans there. If there's people in the crowd there, maybe that was their first and only game they could go to this year. They got to watch a heck of a game, even if they didn't get to see some of the top players. So shout out to the Celtics for playing hard. Shout out to the coaching staff for having these guys ready and giving it their all for them. And yeah, it was a really fun night. Just sucks that we have to wait until next Saturday or Sunday to see this team play again. But it's a good spot to be in.
Looking at just, I don't know what else you can really say about this. Like, I don't know what else. We started this game 0-3. Not this game, this season 0-3. We finished with 56 wins, and I would say our best win of this season. Without our main guys, without our primal starters, we got the job done with guys who were mainly in developmental, who were mainly in the G League, guys who weren't familiar with the Boston Celtics system until this season. They pull out the best win of this season. This is what I've been saying over and over again. This team is playing for something to prove. They are looking to prove something this season, and they're going to continue looking for something to prove throughout these playoffs. Everybody played the role very well. Baylor Shireman led this team well. Ron Harper Jr. on his birthday did what he was supposed to do. Luka Garza, the best Luka in the NBA today, and I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers saying that, but I do not care. The rage bait, all that. He played very well there. Tanji, a guy that people will call a nobody, played well. Banton, there is a reason why he was given 2 years on this team, a 2-year deal on this team. And everybody else. Guys, we beat the Orlando Magic with 8 players. 7 if you count the fact that Ron Harper Jr. wasn't playing in that last quarter. Last year, we were embarrassed by the Orlando Magic in the similar position where, we were in the 2nd seed and they were, competing for a spot in the play-in and an overall spot in the playoffs. But we turned it around on them. We played our hardest, and we got, again, the best win of this season by Boston Celtics. What else can be said here? Because it's just excitement. It's just, if I could cry right now, I would. That's how great this victory was. Just awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Really great win from the team. And you look at this game when you look at the injury list for us, and you think this is one where if we win, yeah, great, but most of us are expecting to lose it because it's the healthy Orlando going up against the hospital Celtics, the like you said, Griffin, the main Celtics basically. It was the healthy Magic going up against the main Celtics, and you don't think we're gonna come out with the win on this one. And when we go down double digits at some point, I'm pretty sure it was a double-digit deficit. We'll get into it later in quarters when we talk about the quarters, and you think, oh, okay, then this is going to be a loss. Like, good fight from the guys, but, we don't really care much about this one. Let's focus on a week from today, the playoffs. But the surge we went through in that third quarter to, get that lead, regardless the fact that we lost a 16-point lead in the game, regardless the fact that the Orlando Magic are healthy, we have dogs on our team, dogs that are willing to fight, and we're willing to hustle for that win. Not only a win for the team, but it's a win also for them individually. Those players, every single player out there that stepped out and helped us out tonight. So when you go into the fourth quarter and we're up and we're have a pretty good lead on our hands, it's just an amazing feeling as a fan, because that's most of the lineup you saw playing during the regular season with that gap year, right? You saw most of these guys play a lot more minutes than they did. You at this point, most Celtics fans saw us fighting for a 7th seed or a 6th seed or so on. But here we are in a game that basically doesn't matter. We secured the 2nd seed, and we use this term all season, but Joe Mazzulla tonight still keeping the foot on the gas, still asking a lot from these guys and imploring them to go out there and play your best basketball. To them and to Joe Mazzulla, this was not a nothing game. This was a game that we wanted to win, especially after going down. And, there were a lot of ups and downs in terms of the scoreline, but that last minute of playtime really solidified that win. And so absolute cinema, exactly. Not only solidified the team, but solidified Mazzulla as a really, really experienced and talented coach. What I saw from these guys offensively and defensively today, I didn't see them all season because we don't see most of these guys all season except for Sharman and maybe Garza. But for the rest of these guys who were fighting for minutes and finally delivered tonight, like John Tonji, like you said, Carl, who I think played a really good game, hit some clutch shots, but played good on defense as well, like most of the guys. It was the perfect definition of a team win. And I love the fact that we went out there not scared about the Magic, not scared about Jalen Suggs and all that talk he had for Baylor Sharman. Not scared of the narrative of this game. A game that we're supposed to lose, and we go out there and we kick ass and we end up winning. So I love that for the team, and I love that for the organization as well moving forward. This gets me even more hyped up for next week. That's all I gotta say.
Without a doubt. You guys all said great points. One thing I do want to talk about in my opening statement, and I was going to ask you guys a question about it as well, but we'll save it for this coming week of the podcast, was Amari Williams, because I was very disappointed in his performance tonight, and I think he's been in a little bit of a slump, to say the least. I think you kind of look back at how he was in that game, David, in the playoff clinching game for the Maine Celtics, and even in playoffs was kind of that one game against the Swarm, who ended up winning the G League championship, was very underwhelming. But I still think next year we're going to see a different version of Amari. He could really focus on his game. Overall, his season in the G League was great, and I think he even had a better season in the G League than Jordan Walsh did, so I'm not very worried about it. But again, we'll talk about that on the podcast. For the team, though, great team win. You had guys like Ron Harper Jr., I gotta say, who went out there and just balled out. Luka Garza and Baylor Shireman, they all were the reason that's the Celtics. Yeah, thumbs up, because they are the reason why this Celtics team ends up victorious. The runs that they were going on and everything, just phenomenal game. But I'm gonna hand it over to I'm not gonna lie, I forgot who was doing quarters. So David was doing quarters. So I'll hand it over to David really quick as you break down the quarters for us.
Yeah. So as you can see, quite the interesting game here. You again would not expect this type of lead tracker in a game with the Magic playing their top guys with a lot to play for versus the Celtics just again playing all their reserves and people stocked up in Maine for most of the season. But as you can see, Magic held a small lead after the first quarter, 29-20. For the Celtics, I mean, good job right off the bat, I thought, just staying competitive. And you could see that at the half as well, as both teams scored 32 points each in that second quarter. So for most of that first half, the Celtics were hanging around, keeping it within single digits. And then the quarter that won the Celtics a game was that third quarter, dropping 42 points compared to the Orlando Magic's 20, flipping the script from going down 9 heading into the half to being up 13 heading into the final 12 minutes. A little bit disappointed there that the referees couldn't take 1 point off the Celtics score from this quarter and have us scoring 41, but 42 will have to suffice. And then obviously the Magic did what we all thought they were capable of doing the entire night, which is taking over the game in that fourth quarter. And, obviously the Celtics did enough to win, as we've talked about down the stretch, and limiting the Magic's opportunity to score. But they still did a great job defensively on the Celtics in that fourth and final frame, but just not enough offensively to catch up. They would win that final frame 27-19. So as you can see, the Magic won 2 quarters. The Celtics won 1 quarter, and then both teams tied in that second quarter again at 32 points each. The Magic, if you're into betting, did not cover, obviously, because the Celtics won. Another shocking result from the game, obviously, with the Magic being favored by 12.5 and not even winning. Celtics won by 5. As you can see, there was 9 lead changes, most of those coming in the first and second quarter, and then in the third quarter, but not once the Celtics took the lead in that third quarter, they would not give it back. The Celtics' biggest lead would be 16 points at the 9:34 mark of the fourth quarter, and the Magic's biggest lead would be 11 at the just towards the end of the first quarter. So that's how the quarters were broken down tonight.
Yeah, for me, David, I have to say, Skylar, not so fast, buddy. I gotta say that he's a betrayer, by the way. We'll get into that later. But I gotta say, I look at this game as a whole, and in the second quarter, I'm like, there's no way this team comes back, right? Right? Like, I think the Magic own this game. You see that blue right there? I don't think the Celtics even come back. And boom, they shocked me. But David, go ahead.
No, I mean I'm with you, Griffin. Where I was just happy tonight with us keeping it competitive. Like I was expecting us to lose. I'm not gonna lie, as I said, but I'm just like, if we can keep it competitive the whole night, which we did, keep it within single digits. I'm happy enough with that. But yeah, the fact that we won is still mind blowing to me. That third quarter was nuts. I mean, Drew Carter in the last game of the year had some of his best calls about Baylor Shireman turning into Troy Bolton. He called Luka Garza, which I haven't heard at all this season. He broke out the nickname for Luka Garza, Luka Legend, which I loved as well in that third quarter. So, I mean, just very, very fun overall game, but an amazing, incredible 12 minutes there because it seemed like Baylor Shireman picked up the powers that that kid in the KD Thunderstruck movie picked up.
I love that. I love that, David. You gave a great breakdown of it, but I'm gonna slide it over now to Daniel. If you don't mind breaking this down for us.
Yeah. Not only is it a great win for the team, but stats wise, we also looked amazing as well tonight. Again, really high in that rebounding battle. It sucks that we lost this one, but not that, pissed off about it. 46 is still great. And I think this is also the first time in a really long time where we lose the rebounding battle. I remember us being at the top for a really long time. In that statistic. So not really bummed out about this one. Assist as well. I'm glad to see us topping that one. I think we did a really good job today. Okay, well, you look at the turnovers and you think we didn't do a really good job of like moving the ball around. There was a lot of sloppy play, for the most part, but there were also times where you just see these guys like moving flawlessly on offense. um, I wouldn't say in the assist factor that we were aura farming for that essentially, but the whole game in general, yes, I'd say the Celtics and Baylor Shireman were indeed or farming
Or a maxing. Or a maxing.
or maxing. Sorry, not farming or maxing. But yeah, those turnovers suck, but we forced more towards them. So I'm just glad we ended up winning that battle as well. Even though that number does stand at 17, last game of the season, not really that worried about it. But yeah, that's honestly it. Field goals, we were pretty evenly matched up with them. I think we did hit more clutch shots than them, which is gonna bring us, later on into that CNR MVP conversations about that last minute and a half of playtime and who really stood out in terms of sealing that win for the team.
Yeah. And Carl, if you don't mind going into the Magic points for us.
Absolutely. Gotcha here. So with the Orlando Magic, you have first Paulo Banchero, their main player, putting up 23 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists on 32% in shooting. Obviously ending the game with a triple-double. Not too bad of a performance from him. Then you have Franz Wagner putting up 20 points on nearly 40% in shooting. Also pretty good there too. I feel like if the Orlando Magic had won, they probably would have given Suggs the best player. But then again, Paulo was the one who put up the triple-double. Suggs actually ends the game with 23 points, 6 rebounds on 47% in shooting, and he hit 7 threes, so easily was their best offensive player throughout the night. Then you have Anthony Black, who I would say is pretty underrated and is going to come up very well as a great guard within this league. Very athletic and just very talented. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 56% in shooting, always plays well there. Desmond Bane actually has one of his worst games with the Orlando Magic, only putting up 8 points on 38% in shooting. The likes of Silva, Dora De Silva also, Carter Jr., Batiza, and Carter and Kane also put up single digits. Pretty much your best players were Black, Suggs, and Wagner and Paulo. And that's about it for the Orlando Magic highlights.
And for your main Celtics, see what I did there, you guys? For the Boston Celtics, though, tonight, Amari Williams tonight, 10 minutes, got pulled from Joe early. And David, can you really quick, I know we said we're not talking about Amari, but will you tell me what you thought about Joe and Amari in this situation? Because I thought that was great what you said earlier.
Yeah, I just thought that was Joe showing Amari a lot of tough love. Obviously, Amari didn't have the greatest first stint there, and that first quarter, I believe, when he came into the game, he looked a little bit lost defensively, and he wasn't taking the right reads when he was put out on the perimeter. Obviously, very difficult position to be in when you're guarding a shooter from the perimeter as a 7-footer, but obviously Joe and the coaching staff didn't like what they saw. So he got pulled after those first few minutes in that first stint in that first quarter, and he didn't play again until the second half. I just thought that was a way of Joe showing tough love to him. Sometimes, in a weird way, I think that was a good sign. That's a sign that Joe and the Celtics staff and the organization believes in him. And, sometimes you just need a little bit of tough love to, get your game improved. And in a weird way, I think that just shows that Amari Williams is going to be invested in here, whether that be a year from now, 2 years, 3 years from now. I think he's a big part of this Celtics core in the future. Really quickly, I know this is podcast stuff, but he just reminds me of Neemias Queta. And I don't want people to be too hard on him. He just reminds me of how Queta was a couple years ago, just a raw prospect. Queta is still a raw prospect, but you can just see the improvement from last year to this year, specifically with Queta. I wonder if we'll see something like that with Amari Williams from next year to the year after. But those are just some thoughts I had where it's a good thing that Joe showed Amari some tough love. And he wouldn't be doing that if he didn't think highly of him. And honestly, I could be completely overreacting to the situation and reading into this way too much, given that it's game 82 of the season. And we really didn't have much of a choice but to play Amari for at least a little bit, given that we only had 8 players. But yeah, that's just that was just my take on that situation. I wouldn't worry too much about Amari moving forward in the Celtics organization.
I am not tolerating this slander, Skylar, from Amari Williams. I will not tolerate that because this is the thing. He's been in a slump recently. He'll break out. Like, he is an older player. He was in college for a little bit, but I still have faith in him, and his overall season was so great, and he's going to do good things for this team. Like, I don't have any doubt in my mind. I think they show trust in him, and I think they're going to continue to do so.
We believe. Sorry.
No, lemons of the night is a good thing now, Skylar. We changed it. Let lemons go to underrated guys instead of someone that you're going to throw them at.
I also feel like for anyone hating on that Amari performance, it's just like a situation of he's played 3 games all season, basically. Like, and when we talk about games where he's gone, like, more than 5 minutes, I'd say, or more than 7, that number goes to of games that goes to like 7, like less than 10, I'd say, of those 82. So you can't expect much by throwing Amari into this one when he hasn't played for the Celtics like consistent minutes at least in like 20 or 30 games or so, even 40. So it has been it's one of those where, you know, with more time and with more experience on that Celtics team, you see him get more comfortable and get better at that position. But tonight was just a situation where, you know, you see mainly in the G League, where even there you said Griffin, he's struggling a little bit, or he was struggling a little bit recently. But yeah, that level of comfort and experience, and that level of comfort just comes with experience, which I'm sure he's going to get a lot of come next year on that Celtics team, hopefully. Definitely does take a similar path to both Cornette and Queta in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. His performance in Brooklyn reminded me of Baylor Shireman's situation last year. didn't get a lot of playing time, but showed some great things like that Brooklyn game where he got a CNR MVP last year. Amari Williams showed out in a Brooklyn game and won the game for them, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like he pretty much won that game. So gotta give him some credit. David, you want to go?
Yeah, just really quickly, us at CNR, we have your back, Amari Williams. We love you, and we can't wait to keep covering your journey here with the Celtics. And you're going to do great things with the Boston Celtics. So we got your back here.
Yes, we do. But for the Celtics out tonight, a long list: Vucevic, Brown, Tatum, White, Pritchard, Kada, Hauser. The one I'm shocked to see in there was Ugo. I thought tonight he would have got some experience, but it shows that Joe kind of wants to set him up for playoffs. But then obviously Amari Williams, who we've been talking about, played the least minutes tonight, only 10 minutes, 2 points, a rebound, an assist, and shot 100% from the field goal tonight. But in addition to that, Max Shulga didn't give a lot tonight either. Played 18 minutes, 3 points, 3 rebounds, a steal, and shot 25%. And I have to admit, I think I kind of look at Max Shulga's journey. I just haven't really been impressed. And we'll get into that too. I think he showed a lot less than Amari, even in tonight. He played a little bit more, shot 25%. So just got to say that. Jordan Walsh tonight wasn't huge for the Celtics, but still did some stuff in 30 minutes, had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, and shot 22.2% from the field goal.
Hit those really clutch free throws as well.
Yes,
at the end there, just like ice the game. I really love that from him.
Yeah, that was huge for Walsh. So ended up helping us at the end, which is big. But next up, Delano Banton, who played never mind. I was going to say the second most, but not the most at all minutes. But played a good amount tonight, 37 minutes, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, and 4 blocks for Delano Banton. Just picked him up on a 2-year deal. Gonna be excited for the Delano Banton experience. But next up for the Boston Celtics tonight was John Tonji, who I got to give him some credit. I think, this could be a guy who gets a contract with the team soon. Maybe if Banton doesn't stick around next year, Tonji could be a guy. Tonight had 13 points, an assist, a rebound, and in addition to that, and a steal as well, and shot 33.3% tonight. So I loved what Tonji was doing for the Celtics in there. And in addition to that, we had Ron Harper Jr., who I think had a very underrated performance. I'm not going to lie. Ron Harper Jr. was phenomenal tonight as I try to pull it up. Oh, there we go. Ron Harper Jr. tonight was phenomenal and kept the energy going for the Boston Celtics. David, why are you giving it?
Underrated. What? I don't think this was underrated at all.
I think it was
underrated. Who's going to underrate a 27-point performance?
We're gonna get into it.
But it's not underrated.
All right, whatever. All right, but
how can you disrespect him on his birthday like that? Calling it an underrated performance, scoring 27 points, unbelievable.
Because it's gonna be underrated after you guys vote for CNR MVP. I'm just saying that right now. It is. It's gonna be an underrated performance and maybe worthy of Carl's lemons. Just saying. But for Ron Harper Jr. tonight, 37 minutes, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and shot 50%. Highest, actually I lied, Luka Garza and Amari had the highest field goal percentage, but third highest field goal percentage. And in addition to that tonight, would have probably done better had he not got injured. So don't even pull that, David. Don't even pull that. But next up for the Boston Celtics, Luka Garza, Luka legend, Garzilla, whatever you want to call him. The group chat was going hyped about him. If not, if you guys haven't already, join our Instagram group chat. But Garzilla tonight, 27 points, a steal, 12 rebounds, an assist, and shot 55.6% from the field goal. Hit the game-winning 3 for the Celtics was completely phenomenal tonight and might be a CNR MVP candidate. Gotta say. But lastly, but not least, Bonfire Baylor. Oh my gosh. 30 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, and shot 40%. I mean, he as Drew Carter says, he throws up that moon ball, and it's a beauty. And Skylar, I have to say again, I don't appreciate the slander.
That's what I was laughing at earlier.
But I mean,
brotherly love. You gotta love a
right
Griffin.
here.
Brotherly love.
Right here. There's 3 guys. There's 3 guys, you guys. And I think it's time for some voting. 3 guys. I'll have David. I'll have you start it off. And we will include comments tonight, so the comments can vote for whoever they want. Just saying. But David,
corrupt. Sorry, little cough.
Dang
here.
it, we have our first vote. We have Baylor Steierman first vote. All right, hold on. We'll let the comments. We'll get the comments and then we'll go. Baylor Steierman has vote number 1. Number 2, Ron Harper Jr. So we got a 1-1 tie right here. Oh my gosh!
Shocking.
Oh my gosh! We have a 2-1. Oh my gosh! Ron's winning 2-1. What are we gonna do? I gotta say, and Skylar says no, but right now Ron's winning 2-1. But David, who do you got for CNR MVP?
All right, so I'm gonna try and get this out quickly because Griffin's gonna send the van after me to my house. But I'm voting for Baylor Shireman. No disrespect at all to the other candidates. You honestly can't go wrong with the top 3 guys that Ron Harper Jr. fan mentioned here in the comments, being Ron, Baylor, or Garza. I just don't think we win that game without Baylor's explosion in the third quarter. And that's not to say, too, let's not slouch on the fact. I know I'm getting the thumbs down. I get it. But let's not slouch on the fact that Baylor Shireman almost also put up a 30-point triple-double in the final game. He had 7 rebounds and 7 assists as well. So it was him and Banton who were the 2 best playmakers tonight. So that's where my vote's going. We don't win that game without the explosion from Baylor Shireman in that third quarter, where if we don't get ahead by that much, it's could be going either way. That gave us enough of a cushion, carry till the end of the game is the point I'm getting at, when it got really close. And yeah, I just love what I saw from Baylor, and I love what I saw from everyone as well. But that was just a crazy, crazy good moment to see from Baylor. And I'm sure, Carl, you have an appreciation for the WWE. That felt like a WWE storyline with Shireman in that third quarter, when right before he started to get going, the Magic called a timeout. He was fired up. Then his back started hurting right after he screamed at the crowd. And then Joe Mazzulla's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "My back's hurting." And Joe's like, "Screw that. Like, you're still playing. Get out there and drop 30. And that's just what he did. And then right after that, he turned it up a notch. So love what I saw from everyone tonight, but I have to vote for someone, and it's going to be Baylor Shireman, as I see the van pulling up to my house right now.
Funny that
Now,
you mentioned.
You got to turn your screen around, Griffin, to make it go like this.
Very funny that you said it was kind of like WWE. Yeah, it's kind of like when that big baby face is going ahead and, about to clinch a big win, and then all of a sudden the heel hits him over the head with a chair, or some evil doer comes in and does like some heelish move, and then 1, 2, but the big baby face, gets up and continues the fight. It's like getting revved up and stuff. Looking at this game, of course, you could really, give it to anybody. Garza was great, double-double, led this team very well, if you were to ask me, as their primal big man, something we've been hoping to see from him from this season. He's showed flashes of that before, but tonight, easily his best game tonight. Ron Harper Jr., once again, happy birthday. You played very well here, and this is despite the fact that you got hurt, and we are wishing you a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Absolutely fantastic and absolutely great. Then you have Baylor Shireman. As they said, he was shooting up the moon, just shooting up all these shots that were not supposed to go in, especially when you're being guarded by Gogo Batiste, who, although is a very dirty player, I would say is a very serviceable big man within the league. And of course, John Tanji too, definitely very much underrated. Not necessarily my pick for my lemons, but definitely somebody to look into and talk about. Having said that, though, Griffin, you cannot get me tonight. It is going to be Baylor Shireman. Baylor Shireman ends the game. It's like David said, near triple-double. If he is not on that court, we could not get this win. We really needed him tonight. And I don't know what else to say about that. We really needed this man tonight to play at his absolute best. Even in a situation where we thought he probably went down with an injury with that one hustle play that he had. So not only was he getting it done on the offensive end, but also the defensive end too. This is somebody that we're going to look to for a very, very long time for just that production. I feel like he's almost the second version of Peyton Pritchard with the way that he was playing, the way that he's been playing throughout this season. He led this team in points, and he led this team doing so with a career high. Again, 4 of these guys got career highs, by the way, in this situation. So I'm taking Baylor Shireman for tonight's CNR MVP. Any other night, it would have been Ron Harper Jr., but Baylor played better. No, Anna.
I'm okay with Baylor winning it. Yes, I think he does deserve it, but I'm going Garza specifically for that fourth quarter. It's probably going to end up being Baylor, and I'm okay with that. But that fourth quarter from Garza was something else. You saw him get 7 points and 2 rebounds. 3 of those 7 points coming from that game sealing, basically like icing 3 or game winning 3, followed by Walsh's 3 free throws. But Baylor Shireman's performance in that third quarter was capped off by Garza's performance in the fourth. I don't think. Yeah, we don't win the game without either of them. But to win the game, you'd need something in that fourth quarter because that's when it was close. That's when the Magic started to creep back and try to steal that win from us. And then you have Garza, who played in an exceptional way tonight, both offensively and defensively. So I think because of his efforts in the fourth quarter and that big 3, if he didn't hit that 3, I think I would have gone with Baylor, especially if we would have found another way to win this one. But I think that 3 just solidified it. Such a clutch shot. He gets the ball off the inbound, a player right in his face, and he knocks down that 3, heavily contested. And the Magic call a timeout because of it. It's absolute cinema. I think it was an amazing shot that won us the game. So I'm going Luka Garza. But I'm happy for both Baylor and Ron as well. And I'm glad to see that they're part of that playoff rotation and next season's team, hopefully.
Wait, all right. Let's tally up the votes. We have 2 votes for Baylor, a vote for Garza. I haven't given mine yet.
We already know yours, Griffin. You don't even have to give it.
Who are you voting for, Griffin?
You don't even have to give your vote, bro.
Wait, hold on. Let's go over it. Let's go over them really quick. All right, we got Skylar Baylor. All right, so count them out for David. You're my counting man. All right, 2. That's 3 for Baylor. We got 1 for Ron, 2 for Ron. So 2 for Baylor, 2 for Ron,
And 1 for Garza.
and then 3 for Baylor, 2 for Ron. It's tied up, guys.
Wait. Hold on. So me and Carl voted for Baylor. Skylar voted for Baylor. Anna voted for Baylor. That's 4.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, if I vote for Baylor, though, I mean, if I vote for Ron, it's tied up. That's what I'm saying.
And then Daniel voted for
Garza.
All right, Caveman, who are we going with? Caveman, who are we going with? All right, we'll wait for Caveman's vote, but I'll vote last. Oh my gosh! We're going Ron Harper Jr. You know what, you guys? Listen, shout out to the CNR community right here, because I'm not gonna lie, if we were down a vote, I was gonna go Luka Garza. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even lying to you guys, because Luka Garza tonight, his performance is so underrated. So underrated. Luka Garza tonight was phenomenal and sealed the deal for the Celtics. But caveman, caveman. Honestly, do you go Ron? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So is Ron Harper Jr. our CNR MVP, guys? We have a lot of shocked faces.
Hold on, David's counting.
I'm trying to
David's
crunch the
counting.
numbers here.
All right, wait. All right.
Okay,
David,
so the polls, everyone can keep. We can, if everyone wants to, we can start a new segment here, and I can count. But we have a Magic fan here. Welcome.
welcome. Wait, who? The poll is still open. The polls
are still what?
Wait. All right, fine. All right, they're closed. All right, David.
We'll give it until 10 o'clock for polls. A nice round 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right, we go 2 minutes. All right. Ron Harper Jr. or Baylor Shireman. Luka Garza's out of the equation. But wait, all right. What do we got right now? All right. So David, you're gonna keep track of Baylor, all right? Carl, you're gonna keep track of Ron, all right? I'm gonna pull it up. We got Skylar, Baylor. We got Aaliyah, Ron. So 1-1. And then obviously Ron Harper Jr. fan page. Got that one. And then we got Anna for Baylor. And then we have Kyle for Ron. We have Caveman for Ron. And then we have you two for Baylor, and then me for Ron. So what do you got, David?
That's 5 votes for Ron, 4 votes for Baylor, and 1 vote for Garza. With 1 minute left for the polls, folks.
1 minute. You guys.
All polls are closed. So I believe
Ron Harper Jr. is
Ron Harper Jr. on his birthday.
His birthday. Listen.
CNR MVP.
Listen, you guys. I am sorry. This is not. Listen. All right. Next, this was a fun one. Hey. This. All right. Listen. I know Carl's mad and I know David's mad, but listen. This was a fun way to end the season. All right. This was a fun way to end the season. And Ron, listen.
I'm not mad. I'm used to the corruption at this point. I'm not
mad. Whoa. Yeah. 10 o'clock. Let's go. All right. But listen. This is my thing on Ron Harper Jr. I look at his past performances too. The amount of times he's been snubbed a CNR MVP, and we've snubbed Baylor too. But let's give Baylor his flowers really quick.
I don't think snubbed is the word. All right, we'll give Baylor his flowers.
Bonfire Baylor, other known as the Green Thumb. The Green Thumb. We gotta love it.
No, I'm very happy for Ron Harper Jr. I mean, I think it's great. He's my birthday neighbor. We're both Aries here. So I'm absolutely 100% happy for Ron Harper Jr. We're around the same age as well. He does recycle big time, Andrew. He had a great performance against the Spurs. He didn't get one for that game. That is not on me. I am exempt from that voting. The other people in the room may have to answer for that, but I was not here for that post-game show, so I can't speak to that. But no, I am very happy for Ron Harper. And him having 12 points in that first quarter alone. He had 60% of our points in that first quarter because we finished the first quarter with 20 points, and 60% of our offense production came from Ron. Really loved his aggressiveness tonight. And they lost. That's why. Good point. I forgot about that loss. There was no CNR MVP. So, yeah,
exactly.
He couldn't get one.
So he deserves. That's the thing. I think he deserves one. All right, Carl. Now, are you upset with this?
People can vote however they want. That's all good. You all entitled to vote the way we want. No one has to justify their reasoning. Very happy for Ron Harper. No sour grapes from me.
How about this then? Because Our MVP goes to Ron Harper Jr. Carl, who does Carl's Lemons go to tonight? This is only Carl's vote, by the way.
Yeah, when you're looking at something like this, you really want to look at a player who's not really being highlighted, as I feel like
You're right.
they should be highlighted.
So Tanji. Tanji's a good guy.
Tanji is. He definitely is. I really want to, but I want to give it to Banton just because of what he was doing on the defensive end, on the playmaking. Yeah, just look at how he was playing tonight. The stats don't really do him justice. People will see it, be like, oh, he only had this amount of points, and it's like, come on. You got to watch the games, guys.
Wow.
You got to. Yeah.
Wow.
We're full of surprises here, man.
All right, listen, I deserve it.
I certainly would have voted you went Walsh.
Yeah, and I'm very happy for Ron.
I don't mind that.
No, Walsh definitely is somebody we could have mentioned more as well too, considering what he did at the end of the game. But something like Banton, just man. Well, the Max so good.
Tune in for the podcast, guys. Tune in for the next podcast for that.
Yeah, I gotta say tonight was full of surprises. I mean, if I'm being honest, I did not think. Listen, I'm sorry, you guys. I give a formal apology. Listen, the whole
formal apology.
Listen. To be fair, my brother turned against me. So, and I only had realistically, I had Kyle and Aaliyah. They had my back, and then I did text the group chat. But they could have went either way, and we saw that tonight. But
now I expect an apology. You admitted to corruption. Now I expect an apology.
All right, I've corrupted 2 times. I corrupted with the Baylor Shireman one once, and then I've corrupted with this. I will admit. Other than that, our votes have been all authentic, and that Jordan Walsh one with the caveman and I was not corrupted. I'm just saying that. And there was not a winner.
Griffin to the commission now.
And there was not a winner. But final thoughts before we close out. We'll start off with you, David, and go around.
No, I mean just a fun game tonight. Gives us something fun to chew on for the next week until playoffs start. And potentially another round 1 rematch against Orlando coming up next week. Another thing that we accomplished tonight versus besides winning was not giving anything away to Orlando, who was playing all their top guys who we will potentially see again starting next weekend. We didn't give anything away because we played all our backups, aka people who will not be playing much in the playoffs, if anything. So really great night all around, really fun night all around. And just shout out, on a personal note, shout out to the CNR community, all of you guys for wishing me a happy birthday yesterday. I read through all those messages. I had a great day. And I can't wait to keep entertaining you guys, hopefully, throughout the rest of the season for the next 6 or 7 years to come.
Happy late birthday, Dave, everyone. Give him a happy late birthday. Carl, what you got?
Yeah, just a beautiful win from the Boston Celtics. Best win of this season. Like I said, call me dramatic, call me somebody over exaggerating. I do not care. Eight players, technically 7 if you count the fact that Ron was not playing in that fourth quarter. We played very well. We played with heart. We played with something left to prove, even though there was nothing else left to prove within this regular season. Again, it was very cold. It was very dark. No hope during the season. And somehow, in some way, we turned it around and ended up as one of the best teams in the NBA. And this kind of feels like an anime moment. All the training montages that take place, and our players developing in the way that they're developing, and then you have the master sensei saying that they're ready. And I feel like generally this team is ready to do something very big within the playoffs. I hope they don't have to go up against Orlando again, because again, don't want to do that again because they're dirty. Would love to see another Sixers and Celtics matchup, just because that's been a while. We haven't gotten that. And again, it's not Orlando. Other than that, though, great to see the Celtics pulling off this great win without some of their better players.
Yeah, not much you can ask for other than our main Celtics beating a healthy Orlando team. Again, there's nothing better than that. Honestly, coming up on this matchup against the Sixers, I don't know. Tune into the podcast. We might be talking about who I mean, we've talked about it already on who we'd rather have between the Magic and the Sixers, as seeing as they're both going to be facing up for that 7 spot, and it's going to be a tough one because I don't know. We're going to talk about it on the podcast, but for tonight's game, really amazing to see the guys out there showing heart and showing why they got picked up by the Celtics and why they deserve a spot on this team. I can stop myself from looking ahead in these playoffs, and judging by however the first round goes, whether we play the Magic or the Sixers, whoever comes out of that round, it's obviously going to be Boston, but whoever comes out of that first round could hypothetically play the Knicks again in that second round, seeing as they face up against the Hawks. So however this first round goes, I think my eyes are just set on this second round rematch against the Knicks. But I'm going to try my best to focus on the near future, which is going to be that game next weekend against either the Sixers or the Magic, and focusing on winning that and establishing ourselves as one of the best teams in the league and moving on to that second round.
No, well said, guys. And Andrew would have voted Ron Harper Jr. had he been on here. So gotta give him a clap. Gotta give him a round of applause.
I also called it, by the way. If you guys see the group chat, I said Ron Harper 30-point game on his birthday, with the side eye emoji. So if he didn't get injured, I think he definitely would have dropped 30. But this is as close to 30 as you can get. So I'm also going to stand for the fact that I called that happening. Call me LeBron.
Well said. Well said, you guys. What a way to end the season, and ends the CNR MVP for regular season as well. And I gotta say, yeah. Well said, Andrew. Go join the CNR group chat. And it was a legacy game. It was a legacy game for Ron Harper Jr. But I gotta say, you guys, don't stop tuning in, because you guys could tune in all playoff long, as we will be giving you guys content. We can't wait, and join us for the journey. We can't wait to see you guys. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. We will see you guys with the next one. Peace, you guys.
See you.
Later.